So hello and welcome to AutoCAD lesson. So in today's lesson we are going to see how we could create a template, something like this. Okay, so in the lesson we will see how we could create in our template title block in model space and how we could just export that to the paper space. Okay, so this is the kind of template we are going to make. You could see there's a viewport. We will also see how we could create not rectangle or a square viewport, but a polygon viewport. Okay. So that's what we are going to see. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to New, and I'll start my drawing my AutoCAD ISO and say Open. In here, I want to start my drawing. If you look at this drawing, if you look at this drawing, it started at 10 by 10 and finishes at 297 by 190. So that's what we need to do here. So I'll go to rectangle, and the starting point is I'll type 10, 10, press enter, 277, by 190. And you could actually type in Z, enter, A, enter, and that will zoom your window. Okay. Now, if you look at this drawing, we need to offset for the title block by 10 3 times. Okay. So in order to do this, the first thing I need to do is if I go and say offset 10, press enter, and if I select the line, can you see the line is selected, the whole rectangle? And so what it means is, at the moment, it's going to offset the whole rectangle. And that's not what we want. We want to offset only the single line. In order to do this, what I need to do is I need to use this tool called Explode. So click on to Explode and come and select the line, anywhere in the line, and press enter. And what Explode does is you'll break the line into this rectangle into individual lines. And now we could go and use offset, and 10 is already says 10, so we could press enter, or we could type in 10 again. And if you look at your command line, it says offset, select object. So once you select object, the command line will ask you something else. So you say select this object, and it gives you one more option this time, the multiple option. And the multiple option only comes on after you select an object. And if I click onto the multiple, or if I type M, and from there on, you will just offset by 10. Okay, so we only need 3, so 1, 2, 3, so that's good. And then I need to offset this line by 130. Okay, so I'm going to offset this by 130, but I don't have to go back to offset again. I could select the objects, this, and I want to offset this side by, next one was 40, I believe. And then I'll select this, and I will offset by 55. Okay, and then you press enter. So what I've done is, if you look at this drawing, I went from here 130, and then I offset again 40, and then I offset by 55. It's good. And then I need to trim some of these parts. Okay, so to trim, I'll use the trim tool, trim, and the best way of using the trim tool is to press enter. So select trim, press enter. And what the enter does is, anything that you select after the enter will be subject to trimming. So now I've pressed enter. So if I highlight this side, all of these objects will be deleted. Okay, and again the same thing. And you guys also know when you actually, well, at the moment you can't see it, but if you look at now the way my cursor is, you got green rectangle with dotted line, and what it means is anything that I touch will be subject to trim. So I press escape. So this way you could see it, and but if I go this way, can you see that it's gone to blue? And then, so what it means is, let me just show you. So if I select now, I'm not selecting anything, by the way, just if I move my cursor this way, anything that I touch will be subject to selection. Okay, that's what it means, even if I touch it. But if I go this way, the opposite way, the line is a continuous line and it's blue, and it means the object has to be inside that blue rectangle in order to be selected. So at the moment, what you see is there will only be this column that will be selected, but not this one, because you could see only this side, the two columns. Okay, so that's just an extra tip. So once we have done this, the next thing is to go and put this into the text. Really, you also need to create a layer. So I think it's a good time to create layers. So I'll go to layer property, and there's this icon, new layer. So maybe a few times. And the first layer, I'm going to call this border. Okay, and the second one, I'm going to call this text. T should be capital, I think. And this, I'm going to call it dim. Dim is for dimension. And info, I like to create a folder called info. Just I'll put all my unwanted lines and objects into the info. What else do we have? Oh yeah, we need to have a logo. And that's it really. Okay, so the border, the thickness of the border should be the line width, let's say 0.5. Now, what we could do is we could highlight everything and put this onto the border layer. But as you can see, the border layer, what we said about the border layer was that the border layer, the line thickness will be 0.5. But it doesn't show 0.5 here. Now, in order to see this, the true value of the thickness of this line, in the previous AutoCAD, oh yeah, there it is, I've actually put down. There's this icon called the line thickness, or the line width. If you click onto it, and it will display. Now, if you cannot see this, yeah, then what you need to do is you need to click onto where it says customization, and you need to click onto these line weights. Okay, and that will bring it on and off. Okay, and when you do that, you will see it. Okay, so for the text, I need to go to the text layer. Where is text layer? Text layer. So I need to start typing the text. Now for the text, what I will do is I'll create a text style. And to create a text style, you need to go to annotation. And there's this icon, A, with a small brush. So if you click onto it, the text style window comes up. And I need to create two text styles, really. And one of them, I'm going to call it, I'll call it title. Okay. And the other one, I think, what we'll call this one is, I think it's better if we call it, what shall we call this? We'll call it heading, actually. Heading. Okay. So the reason I'm going to call it heading and title is, so this will be the heading and this will be the title. Okay, so we've created two texts. So, and if let's say for example, the distance in this this text is, let's say 1 by 1. So it's 1, this x value, and then it's minus 1 going down. And that's the location of where I'm going to place this. So one thing I could do here is I could draw a rectangle, or a square in this case. X will be 1 and y will be minus 1. There you go. So I'm going to place my text starting point will be this. And this rectangle should go to the info layer. Okay, so that later on I could just switch it off. So I'll go to multi-text, select that point. And so what are the headings? So drawn by, approved by, dates. Okay, so we can do this. So multi-line text. Sorry, did I say multi-line text or single? Okay, multi-line text. Make a window. And headings. Okay, so make sure it says the style is headings. And this is going to be drawn by. Okay, so I need to make this slightly bigger. Okay, and justification. So double click onto this, and the justification should be, okay, top left. Okay, that's very important. And the size I'm going to put 2. Once you've drawn just one of them, yeah, say save. And what you could do is for the rest of them, you just have to say copy. What is copy? Copy this item, press enter from where? From that location to that location to that, in there, in there. Maybe in here, maybe in here. And this will be not drawn by, and I think this will be also approved. Okay, approved. And we need to make this. And this was, if I believe it's date. This was drawing number. Okay. And this was, I think, I believe it was title. Title, okay. This was scale. Okay, so you get the idea anyway. Well, I can't remember this. What was it? Oh, okay, I don't have anything for one of them. And then there's, okay. So this I'm going to delete it for now. And I was supposed to trim this line. So I'll go to trim, press enter, and select that. Okay. And now we need to draw, let's say, for example, the title is your surname, and the dates in, and so on. Now to do this, what I need to do, yeah, I want to place it somewhere in here in the center. And I want to find the center line between this and this. So I could actually use, if I cannot find the midpoint of this line because the midpoint is in the wrong place, so what I could do is I could actually break this line and using this tool called the breakpoint. So you click onto the breakpoint, select the object, and then click onto where you want to break it, the point. So I want to break it at this intersection. So click onto that, and that line is now broken. I could see the midpoint there. Now, if you cannot see the intersection, what you need to do is you come to your snap settings, this with the rectangle and a small square on top, and go to object settings, and make sure the midpoint and intersection they are selected. Okay, now what I could do is I could go to text again, multi-line text. This time, maybe what I could do is I could draw outside. I'll change that to title, and I'll put the height maybe 3, press enter, and it was your surname. Okay. Now what I could do is I need to place this somewhere here in the middle. So double click onto this, highlight this, and justification, I'm going to make this middle center. Now watch what happens with this justification. Right now, the justification is here, top left. So I need to bring that square or that dot somewhere here in the middle. So I highlight everything, go to justification, middle center. and say OK. Now when you click onto this, can you see it? It's there. So to place it here, you don't have to say move or do anything. Just click onto the text, click onto that small rectangle. Now you can move it anywhere you like, and then come and show the midpoint. Yeah, so when you see the triangle, just show it. And if you start moving up, don't click anything, just start moving up, and you will see this dotted line. When the dotted line, the green dotted line appears, you could type in 2.5. So all I'm saying is, from the place where I've shown it, in this case the midpoint, going up by 2.5, and you press enter. And that's it. That's how you placed it. So if I measure this, if I measure from here 2.5 up, it will actually be exactly where, where the end point is. If you could see, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so that was good. So we need to do the same thing here. But the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to say copy this, maybe place it here, maybe twice. So I need to make one, and I'll move on. First, I will go to breakpoint, select object. Remember, I want to break this line because it goes all the way. Select object. You don't have to press enter. Once you select the object, one object, it will ask you to then go and select where do you want to break it. And I'll say that's intersection point. And now we have a line again. So this line was broken. And again, I'll select this surname, click onto that, the center of that rectangle, bring it down, but show it. Don't click anything, just show the midpoint and start moving up, and you'll see the dotted line. And what you need to do is you need to type 2.5. And for our exercise, I'm doing 2.5. And this was, I believe it was surname, just surname. Okay. And one more I'll do, and then I'll move on. Again, the same thing, select, come and show it, move it up. You see, AutoCAD always remembers it by, can you see there's a small cross section here? If I go back, you will actually switch it off. If I go back, you will switch on again. There's a small kind of like cross. That tells me AutoCAD remembers that point. So all I have to do is just find now straight line, 2.5. And in this case, this is going to be 0, 0, dash 0, 0 for the lens, and I don't know. Okay, 4 zeros because it's a template. So you do like this for everything, and you need to place your logo. Now for the logo, what kind of logo can we bring? Okay, we'll see that later on once we. Okay, I need to bring here again. You need to break this line, and you need to draw a line, and so modify, break that at that point, and you need to draw a line here. And here you need to say copy this from here to that point. And this is not going to be okay. And you need to do the same thing. So I'm just trying to save time. So once you have done everything, then you jump onto one of the layouts, and you need to actually place this drawing into the layout using a tool called Change Space. So in the layout, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type, you could type anywhere, don't have to type in a command line, layout wizard. So you will see layout wizard, press enter. This page comes up. What do you want to call this? I could call this A4 landscape, yeah. And you say, okay, that's the name of the layout. The printer I'm going to use by default, you know, the best thing is for me, I will use always Okay, I could use my own printer, but I want to show you. You might not have Adobe PDF. Okay, maybe you do have Adobe. I don't know, but the likelihood you'll have one of these. Okay, you could choose any printer you want, but I'm going to choose this printer, the ePlotter. Or should I choose this? Okay, it doesn't matter. You say next millimeter. Make sure that the unit is millimeter, and full bleed A4. Where is A4? Can't see. Okay, will be the one. 297 by 210. Okay, and you say next landscape. Yeah. Am I going to choose none? So I'm not going to choose title block because I already created title block. Viewports, I'm going to say yes for now. I'll delete, and doesn't matter where. Okay, so there is my drawing. It says paper space, which is good, and there's my viewport. So if I stay there, it should say viewport. I'm going to drag out the viewport. Yeah, bigger than the paper. And I'm going to click onto paper to change it into model space. And I'm going to click onto this grid, display grid. I don't want to see the grid anymore. So now how could I place this drawing in here, okay, in the center? The first thing what you need to do is, so we want to bring this from model space into the paper space to make it as a part of the paper space, this drawing, instead of a model space. So the first thing what you need to do is, of course, you need to have the viewport. The viewport is open because you could see it says model. And there's this tool here called scale. Make sure it's 1:1. Okay. And then make sure this is right in the center. Okay. It says 1:1 in the center is important. Okay. Nice in center. Okay, then once it's in the center, it says 1:1. You could go to modify. Please, whatever you do, do not move your middle mouse. If you scroll a little bit, look at that. Your scale goes out of window, sometimes by even a small margin. So this will not be the right amount, okay? So make sure 1:1. You could also use the lock. In fact, it's a good idea to lock it for now. So once you are happy with the center, where it is, then you could go and lock. And then go to modify, change space. There's the icon. Click onto it and then highlight everything. And then press enter. Now what you have done is that you placed in the model space, there won't be nothing. Why? Because it's gone to the paper space. Open your model space and make sure your lock is off, because you need to be able to zoom. Okay, now we got one problem, which is we got this viewport. And if you remember when I started, I said the viewport mine is actually kind of like this. It's called polygon. So you need to draw your own line. Okay, so to do this, what I need to do is, first of all, I will delete this. I don't need it. And what you need to do is you need to go to this icon and you need to say, show me the menu bar, okay? So you want to see the menu bar. Right now what you're looking at is ribbon. And when you say, show me the menu bar, this will come up. And in here, you go to view, viewports, and you need to go to polygon viewports. And for polygon viewport, I'm going to draw. So I'm going to say from here to that point, to that point, to that point, to that point, and to that point. And when you press enter, you would see, you start seeing the grids, and the reason you're seeing the grids is because in your model space, there is a grid. Okay, so if you switch off in model space, if you switch off your grids in here, you won't see it. Okay, anyway. So there is your viewport. Now what I need to do is I need to say this viewport should be not in a text, but it should be on a viewport. I didn't create a viewport. Okay, so I didn't create a layer called viewport. So maybe we could call this viewport. Okay. And I'm going to change that color to magenta color, something like this. Okay, close, select that, and I'll put this onto viewports. Okay. One more thing, and then we're almost done. I would like to delete this unwanted layouts. So the only layouts for me now is this landscape. How do you bring a logo? Logos, you have to be a little bit careful because it would be better for you to bring in vector-based logo. So if I go to the internet, so let me just, I'm going to stop the video because I want to download some. Well, I don't have to actually stop the video. What I could do is, what kind of logo can we bring? I don't know. Oh yeah, AutoCAD logo, image. So right click, save image. Where do I save it? Okay, I'm going to save this in my picture. AutoCAD logo. Okay, so save this. Vector based. Let's see. Okay, so I've got a picture now, so let me insert. So you need to go to insert. You could go to here as well. So you could say insert or you could say attach as well. Attach. In my, I could go in here and look at my, where's my documents? Okay, documents. There's no picture. Is there a picture? Why there's no picture? Okay. Let me see where I saved it. I don't know where I saved these drawings. Save the image. Oh, it's gone to OneDrive, sorry. So, AutoCAD logo. Okay. So we could say, this is insert a block. So you could say attach. You could also insert it. Here I will say AutoCAD logo. You say okay. This is important. Yeah, you could have a full path and no path. What it means is a full path is good, and so if somebody changes the picture, yeah, you'll be able to see the changes. But if they move the file to somewhere else, then you have a problem, because you will always go and look for that file. So it's better to do kind of like I think I need a proper lesson for this actually. So for the logo,